Why are we doing this?
I guess our unique proposition is that we have in fact worked in just about every corner of real estate, other than being an auctioneer and working in strata.
Yeah.
We've done everything else. So we've actually hands-on worked in the industry for all of those years, and we've worked in the engine room. So from an administrative perspective, we've been selling agents, we've been property managers, we've worked in projects and development, we've worked in corporate real estate, we've managed teams on a national basis and a state basis. So we come from a really rounded and diverse background. We've also worked both metro and regional, and so it brings a diverse perspective on every topic when it comes to property. We knew that we could really add value and help people, and people were organically coming to us and asking us for our help. And then particularly as selling agents, we used to see the hardship and see what buyers went through, and it really annoyed us because it was just all so one-sided, and we wanted to make a difference. So when it just sort of organically started happening, it was just like a natural progression that was going to be the direction we went in.
Well, here we are. Welcome.
It's a long time coming
to our podcast, Unreal Estate. We'll unpack that later.
We will indeed. I guess it's the purpose of why we're doing this is to we have so many conversations unpacking real estate and key topics in real estate, and so we thought it would be a good idea, and we've been told so many times that we need to share this stuff. It's gold. The conversations in the car, and
so we're not quite sure what might come out. Let's just see how we go. It's really going to be a conversation, right? We get asked a lot of questions, and we hear a lot of things. We discuss a lot of things, as you just said, in the car, and we can't record them. We often wish we had recorded them, because I think there's a lot of people out there that will benefit from it.
Absolutely. There's so many people, I guess, that this could be for, not necessarily people in real estate or looking for real estate. But I guess some of our conversations, I hope they, help people in some certain way in moving forward with whatever decision they make in relation to property or...
And in layman's terms, there's a lot of data, and data's very helpful. Don't get us wrong. We're always looking at the data and analytics, but, to put it into perspective for people that are just out there trying to buy a house, or trying to learn more about real estate in layman's terms, because it's very complex. We're still learning, and we've been doing this combined in our 5th decade, are we? That's scarily enough. But anyway, like anything, when the timing's right, things happen, and we can talk about that with how we started our business so that anyone listening learns a little bit more about us. But we also wanted to thank Andrew from ThinkCloud. Again, the universe produces what we need, and when the timing was right, we met him. So we're very appreciative of everything he's done to get us to this point.
It's his fault we're here. And a few other people along the way.
So who are we, and why are we doing this, and how did we start? Why did we start a business at the worst possible time?
Yeah, well, it was
a lot of people told us we were nuts.
I know they did. There was a lot of people that said, why? What are you doing? What's a buyer's agent? No one's ever heard of a buyer's agent.
And why now? It's COVID. Mm-hmm. The world's gone nuts, and we don't know, the market's falling apart, and why would you start a business now?
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange time, but we didn't sort of hear it. I don't know, it was a bit weird. We had the idea, we had the conversation, and we were so passionate about it and believed in it so much. And it was at a time where people really needed help, and they were coming to us.
So it was April 2020, right?
Yeah.
So just to take us back, it was a pretty scary time. I think we all went into lockdown March, or...
Yeah, it was March 23rd.
Yep.
It was with my kids and I.
So it was pretty scary, and the market hadn't taken off then. And to be honest, when we started this, we just thought this will pass, like all things in real estate. We've seen many cycles come and go. So we thought, let's get all set up now while this is all going on, and we'll be right. We didn't really look back, did we?
No. It was literally a conversation. We hadn't caught up for a while. It was strange. I know we hadn't caught up for a while, and I happened to tell you that I'd been helping friends, like, at school, daycare. Parents were coming up and asking me, "Oh my gosh, you're in real estate. Can you help us?" And I was having so many car park conversations, and then really good friends of ours asked me for help. And next thing you know, I found myself negotiating on a house, and it was at a time that I actually wasn't actively working in real estate. I'd left my corporate job and I was at home helping my husband. I'd just had my son, and we had this conversation one day, and I was telling her I was on a bit of a high because, I don't know, other real estate agents will, I guess, share this feeling. You never sort of get past the thrill of a negotiation.
No, you don't. It's an inbuilt thing.
It is. It never leaves you. Yeah. And so I was on a bit of a high, and I was telling you about it, and then, as chance would have it, you were going through the same experience.
Well, yeah, I've got 3 beautiful grown-up children, and some of them, my son's friends, are looking at buying homes. So, Ben had been kind of, feeling me out, and they were asking questions, and it was like, talk to Mum, she can help. And so I'd sort of been in that zone, and it just clicked, didn't it? Why are we doing this?
But the funniest thing
we could do this as a job.
The funniest thing was, we had been thinking about, ever since we'd known each other, we had been wanting to go into business together, and we agonised. Remember the days on my back porch, absolutely agonising. What is it going to be? What are we going to do? And we could never come up with something.
Because the timing wasn't right.
Some of the things we considered were hilarious, and we were so determined for it not to be real estate.
So I guess we should really cover that too, because we met in 2008. So we were friends before we started this business, and we met as selling agents in Terrigal, and it was an instantaneous friendship. But, I don't know, somewhere deep we knew one day we'd join forces, and it took 12 years, right?
Yep.
To be the right time.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of things in that time. You've got, 26 years experience?
30 next year.
Oh, gosh, I'm pushing up to 20. So, yeah, we're showing our age here. But who thought we'd start? I didn't think I'd start a business. I was 52. We started this business. So who would have thought? If anyone ever tells you can't do it later in life, that's rubbish. Because you can.
And we love it. Things just weren't even entertained. I don't know. When we had that conversation that day, it was just, next thing you know, we had the name, we were registering ABNs.
So I guess that's a good point too. Like, once we made the decision, we literally didn't we? My daughter was home. She'd been living in Tokyo. She'd come home because of COVID, and we sat on the front porch, and I said, Linda and I just came up with a business idea. And the name was one of the first names she said, and it was inspired by a day spa in Bali, strangely enough. And Hannah said, what about Spring? And I rang you, remember, and said, what do you think? And Spring has lots of other connotations as well.
When we started unwrapping it, we were like, oh my gosh, this actually, it's originated from a day spa, and that beautiful feeling of positivity and freshness and all of those things. But then we're both born in spring, and then spring is the peak selling season, or real estate purchasing season. It means new beginnings, fresh start, all of those things. So when we kind of packed it all together, it just made sense that was going to be the name for our business. So we ran with it.
We did, and we didn't look back. As they say, burn the boat. We really did. We made some decisions really quickly without going into it lightly, though. It was really important. We had a great friendship, and we didn't want to ruin that with the business. So we really did nut out with our accountant. Our partnership, it's important. And I think it's quite fascinating to people too that there's a lot of business partnerships or that were friendships and go into business partnerships that don't work. And we've both got lots of really great friends that we wouldn't necessarily go into business with. So it was really important that we got it right, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
And we didn't stuff it up.
Well, we always said our friendship would come first.
Yeah.
No matter what.
And we didn't want to lose that in the mix either.
No. And we set some pretty, good, strong ground rules, really. You know, we never wanted to lose our friendship. We always wanted to make sure we still had fun and that every time we
tried to separate it. We tried to say, okay, we'll talk about business on these days and then we won't. As we've worked out, there is no clear line. And now it's just all mixed in and it works really well. So, yeah, we were very careful to go into it eyes wide open, weren't we?
Absolutely, and I think
it's a big financial decision to go to intertwine.
We're almost married. You're my
exactly. We spend more time together than we do with
That's
our family.
what my husband says.
Yeah, poor Ash. So that was really important that we got that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the why we're doing this. First and foremost, it was because we knew we could help people.
Yeah, I think automatically just from our pasts working in real estate, and I think that's kind of, I guess, a really unique proposition that we bring to the table overall, and part of the reason why we're doing this podcast and part of the reason we've started our business is because our unique proposition is that we have in fact worked in just about every corner of real estate other than being an auctioneer and working in strata.
Yep.
We've done everything else. So we've actually hands-on worked in the industry for all of those years, and we've worked in the engine room. So from an administrative perspective, we've been selling agents, we've been property managers, we've worked in projects and development. We've worked in corporate real estate. We've managed teams on a national basis and a state basis. So we come from a really rounded and diverse background. We've also worked both metro and regional. And so it brings a diverse perspective on every topic when it comes to property. And so we knew that we could really add value and help people. And people were organically coming to us and asking us for our help. And so, and then particularly as selling agents, we used to see the hardship and see what buyers went through. And it really annoyed us because it was just all so one-sided and we wanted to make a difference. So when it just sort of organically started happening, it was just like a natural progression that was going to be the direction we went in.
I think we also saw it as an opportunity to break the mold a little bit as well. We were a little disillusioned. We both had stopped actively selling real estate 7 or 8 years before we started this business. I'd gone into projects and development. I was working directly with a developer and then in project sales, but not selling, and you'd gone into corporate and management roles. But we were a bit disillusioned with being a real estate agent and sometimes how you're perceived in that role, right? So we kind of thought it's the side of real estate where we can really be who we are authentically and help people. And it's become a lot more relevant in the marketplace than it was when we started. I think when we first started, even only 3 years ago, hardly anyone even knew up on the Central Coast what a buyer's agent was. There were a couple operating, but not many. So there's a lot of education.
And it still is. Even, so many people still don't really understand. What about that open home you went to the other weekend? And those people were just so ignorant.
They had
had no idea at all. And the questions.
The question was, and we'll get to this in a later episode, why would you want a buyer's agent? There's a selling agent there to help. Well, I just kind of had to zip it a little bit. But we'll get to that later. But that's the perception out there. Why do you need a buyer's agent? There's a selling agent there. But we'll get to that.
Yep.
Having been selling agents, and certainly not knocking selling agents, they do a fabulous job and they're very needed, but they don't work for the buyer.
No.
And we can get to that.
Yeah, we can.
Later.
Due course.
In due course.
No, but I think, that was very much our why, and like in starting and getting and moving forward. And then I guess we started looking at a whole, both of us were at a stage in our careers, in our lives, that we were looking for our next step and planning for the future. And, I've got little kids, your children are all grown up, but essentially, we'd worked for some pretty tough bosses along the way. And we just got to a point Well, I know I said it 1,000 times. I got to a point, I thought I was unemployable. I wanted to be the master of my own destiny and create my own life.
Big part of our decision, wasn't it?
Well, it was.
We were both at that point where we just couldn't work for anyone anymore.
No, absolutely
not. That
not.
You know, we worked for some tough bosses, and I must say,
Respectfully,
some big egos.
Yeah.
And they were hard days. A lot of them.
They were. And look, I'll just say it, we were sick to death of the boys' club. Our industry is very much still to this day a huge boys' club, full of ego and high-fiving in the office and chest beating, and like it just wasn't us. We just got over it. Like, you know.
I think you get to a point. I don't know. I think is it age? Is it experience? I don't know. You get to a point you just think, yeah, enough. I just can't.
And like
shrink
that's great.
myself.
I guess
that's a good word, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't shrink myself any longer into this mold that I'm meant to fit into. To please other people.
Yeah, there's definitely a perception that you have to behave or perform a certain way, and it's actually nonsense. And we just got tired of it, I guess. And
so I guess that brings us to what our brand stands for. I think it's kind of who we are, right? It's, integrity is very important. Respect is very important. Being fulfilled is very important. The culture that we're creating in our team is hugely important. That balance in life where life can be happy. You're not feeling sick on Sunday night because you go to work on Monday and sit in an office.
An 8:30 meeting on Monday. Like, really?
And your days are full of pointless meetings. And, so we got to control the type of environment we wish that we'd had to now share with other people in our team.
And having that flexibility, aside from COVID kind of forcing that environment, we already wanted that because we never had it in our working careers. And especially, people have families, people have lives, and work doesn't necessarily stop. It's not 9 to 5 anymore, so people can't be forced into this 9 to 5 situation when, your phone, like in reality, you can't just clock off. People need you.
We're used to
different
that.
times.
We've been real estate agents for a really long time, so we understand. And when a deal is on, a deal is on. It could be midnight, it could be 6 a.m, it could be whatever. Sunday, Saturday, any night of the week. When a deal's on, your family know. A deal's on, guys. I'm working. Because we fight really hard and work really hard for our clients.
Yeah, 100%.
When we found a property, it's on.
And that, typically doesn't happen in 9 to 5 situation.
No, it doesn't. Often it doesn't. Yeah. So no, it's very true. So people are fascinated sometimes with the business and how quickly our business has grown, because it has grown really quickly. Sometimes we're a bit overwhelmed by it ourselves. So what, I guess, some of the questions I get asked, so how did you start? Did you have to make sacrifices? Did you make sacrifices?
Yeah,
you did. So what, for someone looking to start a business like we did from pretty much nothing to, hey, let's start a business and call it Spring, what were they? And just for those people out there wondering, how do you start? What do you do?
Well, I think, there's a financial element to it. There's a risk element to it. And I don't know, I just look back to that time and we sort of, we did cut out a lot of that noise, but when we remember back, we did things like at that time, because of COVID, you're allowed to utilise your superannuation. And so we both used that money to start a business. We didn't use it to live like other people did. We were like,
Everyone
used it.
said, don't touch your super.
I know.
I took the 2 lots.
I only took the 1, but we used it. Well, that's who we paid. We used that money to pay for our company who did all our branding.
We did.
So, we did things like that. We lived on 1 salary, which is the first time we ever did that. My husband was having a heart attack. Like, what the hell are you doing? What have you done? Like, is this the time to be doing this?
There's always a personal sacrifice behind the business.
Yeah, what about you? You sold your house.
Well, I'm in a different situation, and without, oversharing, I've, been by myself for many, many years, and I don't have, a partner, which is great. I'm very happy, don't get me wrong, but there's not that financial second element coming in. So there were dark days before spring happened. I was made redundant from my role on the 23rd of March. And I understand I was working on a very big development, hundreds of millions of dollars, and the developer didn't get his funding and development fell in a bit of a hole. And I totally understand that decisions had to be made. So that department was really kind of shut down. So I packed my box of things and got home on the 23rd of March and thought, oh, okay, what now? And the next few months, probably 6 to 8 weeks until, we kind of made this decision, were pretty scary. But that was like a lot of people. They were very scared. I was making decisions just to go into survival mode for a moment. I did get an opportunity to go back to my role, as you know, and I did go back for a short time on a contract basis.
We weren't planning that our business would take off.
Because I thought, the business might take
a bit of a crutch.
A year or two. I don't know. It's not expect too much. So I went back on a contract basis, but within, I think, 3 months, we were just too busy. But I made big sacrifices. I sold our home and decided to take the pressure off and rent for a couple of years, and that disrupted my family and me. But for me personally, having that stress gone really allowed me to focus on the business and not be worried about how I was going to pay the bills, and it gave me that space. And I knew once we got it going, I'd get back into the market, and it wasn't even 2 years. I think it was 18 months later.
It was. I think our mindsets at that time were really, we were so focused on, like, we're burning the boat, like there's one chance to do this. And like we incinerated that thing. It sunk and there was a little puff of steam coming out.
And we're not 25.
No.
We're not here forever.
Yep.
So it was guns blazing. Yeah. Let's do this because it's the next 10, 15 years of our life. Let's just get stuck in.
I think that's, important to recognise. We knew that this was going to be a 10 to 15 year plan. This is not a 20, 30, whatever year plan.
We'll be working when we're 70, probably. Not full time. Just, a few decisions here and there. Be on that beach somewhere. But there's a lot to do in between.
Well, there is. It was kind of, we decided head down, bum up, go hard while we can, and then we actually want to enjoy it,
And we did set our 10-year plan.
We did.
It was part of our preparation.
Yep.
Down to the minute details.
Yeah, we built a pyramid, 10-year pyramid, and started what we're going to do and achieve each year, and we still use it. Every year we reassess it still to this day, and it's awesome to see things like goals that we kick a year or two ahead of the game. Our property management business. So that's a secondary business that we started. I think that was planned for like year 3, and after 12 months that started. We've got other business interests that, have been part of the overall 10 to 15 year plan, and they've started years earlier. So it's a really good yardstick, and that works really well for us. So we can measure, how we're going and keep on track with some of our whys, and
And we're attracting, the right people to our business as well, and that's super important. We've got, Daniela, who joined us recently as a buyer's agent, and we have a fantastic researcher and administration help, which has allowed us to do things like this podcast.
Yeah.
Because we really just have been, a bit busy to get it going. But we hope we've talked about ourselves a bit today because we felt it was important, I guess, to share who we are and why we're doing this. But ultimately this is about helping buyers and anyone really looking to transact. Could be sellers, potential sellers looking, not that we sell real estate, but they could find what we're saying quite interesting. Selling agents might find it interesting. Buyers agents might find it interesting. Who knows? Someone might listen, hopefully.
But I think we want to try and keep it quite raw and interesting, and, really talk about the nitty gritty of topics. There's a lot of glossing over and a lot of smoke and mirrors, and a lot of kind of like, I don't know.
We want to break it down,
propaganda.
Some of the myths.
Yeah, we do. We want to just, keep it real and talk about things hot topics and try not to be too controversial because that's not really us either. But we are very straight up people.
Yeah, we get told that quite often.
Yeah, maybe a bit too much, but
but we also get told the energy's good.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had clients, which is really bizarre. We've had clients say to us that they've engaged us because of the energy that we have. I've never had that said to me before. Have you?
No.
And I think it's because we love it. We're passionate. We love what we do. They say that there's an energy when you're doing that. And I think there is, because I've never had that said to me before.
No. Well, our new client who engaged us from the other side of the world just said one of the reasons, not all of them, but one of the reasons was our chemistry. And I found that really interesting.
That was on Zoom. Imagine if you actually met us. That was over Zoom.
But we do get told that a lot. Yeah. The way that we, I don't know,
should be a fun
feed off each other and
too,
yeah.
Right? Buying a house,
serious.
unfortunately, for most people, is not fun. They think it's going to be fun, and then they start doing it, and they quickly hate it because it's hard. So we're there to make it fun, to bring all of our knowledge and experience that we have, which is very serious and important, but to also make it enjoyable. It should be enjoyable.
Absolutely, and they can be as emotional as they want to be, but we're not.
And you don't ever take emotion to a negotiating table ever, and that's, we can protect them from that. They can scream and yell and cry. That's fine.
There's
jump up
plenty
and
of
down.
that happening.
Plenty of that. But we take that away.
Absolutely.
So why don't we sort of maybe finish up our first episode on what's the best thing that's for you, do you think? What do you enjoy most about now if you look back 3 years ago? I know, there's sacrifices and it's hard and we're busy, but what's the best thing?
I still love when we engage a new client. It's still as exciting as the first time our very first client, where we...
Should we share what happened?
Yeah.
The first one. Yeah. And God love her. We should Alyssa, my beautiful hairdresser
at the time. Yeah. Yeah. It was hilarious. So,
oh my God, where are we going to get our clients from?
I don't know.
Where, remember?
We were a bit
Alyssa,
concerned.
Oh my God, her and her mum.
I know, they were such lovely people. We drove out to their house and we sat down with them, and I know we didn't go prepared with a listing presentation or any of that stuff. And we'd had consulted with professionals before we went into this business as well. That was all part of our setting up.
But caught us off guard though, didn't it?
Yeah, we arrived. I don't even know if we had a proper agency agreement back then, but anyway, details, schmeetails. We do now, just saying. But we were very unprepared because it came quicker than what we anticipated. Yeah. And we sat there and talked through, I don't know, but I feel like it came out naturally. Maybe if it was recorded, it would be atrocious compared to now. But
we may not have been technically prepared, but we do know what we're doing.
Yeah, we knew what we were doing. But all the process.
That's it.
And but anyway, they wanted to move forward with us. They really trusted us and believed in us. And so we signed the agency agreement that we had, and we walked out to the car.
We waited till we got to the car.
We did. We hopped into the car. We shut all the windows and the doors and made sure that they weren't looking. And then we just went bananas in the car. We're like, screaming. Honestly, if anyone walked past the car, God knows what they would have thought, that we're having an episode of some description. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
It is, and we do the same thing.
But you know what? We still almost do that every time.
And when we buy
and
a
we've
house
helped
to someone,
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of clients, and we still
get excited. When we buy a house, seriously, it's the best.
Well, that's
excited.
It's a two-pronged. So the best parts for me are listing a new client and when we buy a property. And it doesn't matter what the purchase is. It doesn't matter if it's $500,000 and a first home buyer, or it's $10 million, and everywhere in between. like that thrill of winning a home for somebody and making all their dreams come true is just like the best feeling ever.
Yep. Well said. So that's so good. Yeah.
Well, it is. There's nothing can describe it. And you've got our clients, and I'm getting emotional, and they're crying and they're like, oh my God, you made our dreams come true, and we never would have, achieved this if it wasn't for you. And, they talk about their struggles, and, we get to know their real life journey. It's like, it's big.
And everyone's got their struggles. We've had them. Our clients have had them. And I think, bringing life experience to what we do, as well as the knowledge of the market and the real estate experience, that's really important. Because if I look back to when I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't know anything about life. I thought I did. I mean, I knew something, but not like I do now.
No.
So you can bring a lot of experience, and often our clients do say to us, you kind of shared everything, and we felt really comfortable by the time we had to make a decision. You helped us get there. It wasn't like we make decisions for them, or we don't. It's always in the control of our clients, but we help them get there, and they really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And they get to know us as well. And, we've got clients that are friends now. We've got clients that actually work with us in their own capacity. Our beautiful Amanda, who has helped us so much in setting up websites and marketing, and we bought 2 properties for them now. It's it reaches far and beyond.
Pretty awesome when we've got a number of clients that have come back to us for multiple purchases, and like that's just such a big deal, and we don't take that lightly. Like, it's actually what we do is a huge responsibility, and we don't take it lightly ever. And it's people's biggest investment that they'll ever make, and they make it a handful of times maximum. Like, most people are once or twice. And like that's a big consideration. So, we do have a real sense of responsibility when we're helping people. It's definitely not a transaction, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And
it never feels transactional ever.
No. And like it is, it's a really personalised service, and we get to know all of our clients, on a much deeper level. It's a different relationship from being a selling agent.
Yeah.
It's a relationship on a deeper level. It's a longer relationship. It's actually a more positive relationship.
Happier one.
Yeah, totally.
It's often they've sold and moved through the hard part, and now the new beginnings are starting.
Yeah.
So it's psychology would say it's sort of the next step of moving forward. We like that. Often selling a home can be, not always, but it can be related to stressful times,
There's pressure. There's some sort of
there's
pressure.
some sort of pressure perhaps, and it's stressful packing and moving, but buying a house, that's exciting.
It is.
And it should be. That's why we're passionate about making it a positive journey.
So rewinding, I said my favourite parts. What are your favourite parts?
I'll take a different tack because you've covered off our clients beautifully and how excited we get. I think for me, finally losing the desire to find that work-life balance. I have a word every year.
Yeah.
I have a word every year.
Actually, we do.
We pick a word and we go, okay, this year my word's going to be whatever it is. And mine, I think last year was balance, and always striving. I'm a Libran, but always striving for that balance. And what I've come to realise is doesn't exist. Now it's just life, and it's work, and it's our friendship, and it's family, and it's everything that happens all meshed into just a good life.
Yeah, we don't answer to anyone.
Yeah.
Or maybe I answer to you just a little bit.
We kind of answer to each other, I guess. But yeah, we don't answer to anyone.
No, that's the best
Feeling.
feeling.
No boss.
Yeah, the feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
That's what it's freedom to make our own decisions.
We're in control of our own destiny. Yeah. If we want to work hard, which we do, there's reward there. If you don't, there's not. You're in control.
Absolutely. There you go. That's a good note to end on.
Thanks for listening. Till next time.